Aries, welcome to your weekly Sidereal forecast for July 20th through the 26th. My name is Athen. So, pretty straightforward week this week in terms of the astrology, that is. We've got a conjunction with Mercury and the Sun taking place, which will be in your fourth house. But before that happens, we've got a lot of the support from Saturn actually this week, trining up to the Sun and Mercury in your third. So any new beginnings that you set off on last week in relation to learning, communicating, exchanges, busy time perhaps for a lot of you Aries with your ruler down here in the third house. A lot of this mental energy too, which isn't the most comfortable position for your ruler Mars down here. So I have been recommending doing things like exerting that energy into reading, writing, communicating, stuff like that, or perhaps physically, which is always very good for you Aries, which is, maybe going for a run or going for a walk, things like that, which get your physical body moving, can help dispel and help channel a lot of this airy, communicative, mental energy that has been on the table for you. So that being said, this trine from Saturn does make a lot of this stuff very supportive this week, actually, especially in the early part. So things like, all that stuff can be very disciplined, especially with the Sun, which is going to be on Monday and Tuesday. A good creative and inspired discipline to be channeled into anything relating to this busy mental type of energy. Also, Mercury, who will be aspecting Saturn on Wednesday, very practical. Your mind can be very practical, very disciplined, very detail-oriented, and can be a good time for, details, organizing things, anything relating to routine, health, diet, even creative things, which is the Sun, but definitely in that third house manner. So that being said, it's still very much about third house for you with your ruler there, but Mercury and the Sun will be shifting into your fourth here around midweek, Wednesday, Thursday time period. And when they do, they go conjunct. So basically what this symbolizes is these two planets together is, can be very expressive. You can be very strong and passionate actually about your thoughts and your ideas and things like that. But especially around your home and family, the emotional things, because there's this shift happening midweek into more of that sentimental, emotional past and roots sector of your chart, which has been perhaps quite expansive over the past year with Jupiter transiting that fourth house, or at least there's some wisdom and things you're learning about that part of your life. So anyways, now for the next 4 weeks, really, with the Sun here, and then even for the next few months with your ruler who will slowly be going into that fourth house, the emphasis is going to start to shift a lot more into that family-oriented or home or past, things like that, spending time, in those, with those sentimental things and aspects of life. But one thing to, just to say here is that both Mars and the Sun, they like to be at the top of the chart. So this energy now for about the next month, and actually a few months for that matter, take it slow. If you're noticing your energy levels might be a little low at the time, it just depends on your personal charts. But if that's the case, again, it's a time for setting roots. It's a time for spending time at home with family, things like that, which is more on that internal level. And you'll certainly be feeling that shift. But I think generally you Aries should be quite passionate actually about a lot of these fourth house matters. Maybe there's something new there relating to that as well with Mercury coming into the picture. Very eager to express, very eager to create, to have fun, and to tap into that playful energy with those matters. And that's exactly the balanced energy that's best utilized with the Sun in the fourth. So that being said, that's pretty much the work week there up and through Friday. And then over the weekend, your ruler will be squaring up to Uranus. So this is important, for you Aries in the sense that, Uranus is, especially with Mars and Gemini, it can be this kind of restless and impulsive kind of an energy. So the key with this and the best way to work with this square is to want to renew your life, want to, change some things, especially again about how you're seeing things, how you're thinking about things, how you're learning, communicating, exchanging, this day-to-day stuff. And when you do that, then you're working with this square. And this can be a weekend of tremendous change, actually, in those avenues of life. So I really recommend it. Mars will be trining up to Chiron while that happens, so all of this stuff can be quite healing, actually. And the Sun and Mercury will be sextiling up to the North Node. So there's some things to learn about life path, about your particular life path and life in general. over the weekend, which is available, which is that sextile, which has been about health, diet, routine, making sure everything is organized. Because when everything's organized, then we can have more of this spiritual time out. We can understand things more. There's more time to do things like reading and writing and stuff like that. So it's a good way to work with that. And over the weekend, I think anything relating to organizing, routine, health, diet, work, even perhaps self-improvement, stuff like that, should flow quite nice with the intent of wanting to change and learn more about your assertiveness and how you're communicating and things like that. So that's the weekend. And also over the weekend, Venus and Uranus will be going retrograde at roughly about the same time. So that being said, this is going to be a reflective time. We have a lot of planets retrograde now at the moment, and with Venus, who's a very personal planet, can really emphasize that. So over the weekend, it's a good time to start reflecting on and thinking about the things relating to your relationships, your values, what you enjoy about these things, because Venus is in the 5th house, what your passions are, reworking perhaps some of these creative endeavors that maybe you've just recently started working on with Venus there, how to have more of that playfulness in relationships with your values, etc. And that'll be an energy for a few months. So reflecting on that, wanting to learn more about those areas of life, the 2nd and 7th house particularly, maybe even resources and finances and things like that. That's the flow with Venus retrograde. And then also with Uranus, reflecting on how you can perhaps get some more of this alone time, spiritual time, and how important that is to your freedom, because this is a week of, especially the weekend, of revolution, change, to how a lot of things are taking place on that very day-to-day level. And what it's looking like is it's so that you can have more of that freedom, more of that enjoyment in the spiritual sense, that spiritual meaningfulness in your life. So some things to reflect on, and certainly some shifts happening this week in regards to these areas of your chart. So Aries, have a nice week. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.